Well, as you know, the economic impacts of extreme events and climate are on the rise, and climate change is exacerbating the situation. When you look at the last 15 years, there have been a lot of efforts by a variety of stakeholders to help governments build resilience against extreme events and climate. Yet there is still a lot of work that needs to be done, and that's what's reflected in the amount of risks that we are seeing. So this issue has really underpinned the development of the 3 international framework agreements that were adopted by nearly 190 countries in 2015. These are the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, and the COP21 Paris Agreements. Now, in all these 3 agreements, what really connects the 3 of them is promotion and importance of an integrated approach to risk management, which is comprised of risk analysis and understanding the risk, preventive measures to reduce the risk, and then risk transfer and insurance measures to really transfer the residual risk. So the role of insurance specifically has very much been promoted in all the 3 agreements, and the work that we have ahead of us is working with the various stakeholders to ensure that particularly the private insurance sector can be leveraged and contribute what it can to the implementation of these 3 agreements. The insurance industry provides numerous expertise and capacities to really help with implementation of the resilience agenda. To start, the insurance industry has been the innovator in risk modeling and risk pricing, which is the foundation to signaling to the decisions as to how much to invest in preventive measures and what to do through risk transfer. Secondly, through the risk transfer and risk sharing function, the industry provides innovative solutions to help governments, businesses, and people to manage that financial risk. And finally, through its investment function, as you know, insurance industry is the 2nd largest institutional investor. It can play a very big role in trying to promote resilient infrastructure, resilient housing, as it has done in many developed countries. And what we are hoping is all of these expertise is also expanded to the developing nations. Now, what you see is in the developed countries where insurance is well penetrated, these countries very much respond quickly post-disaster to recover from the impact of that disaster. Also, the fact that insurance systems exist, it allows for much faster settlement of the contract and delivery of finances to those that are at need. So essentially, leveraging this capacity could really help addressing the protection gap that exists today. Currently, when you look in the developing countries, the protection gap is not around 90%. In developed countries, there is still a lot of room for expansion of insurance, and it's been estimated at about 50% that needs to be tackled still through insurance. The insurance industry was quite active in trying to promote concept of prevention, risk transfer, and make sure that that's integrated as part of the 3 international framework agreement. But here we are where these agreements have been adopted, and now we are in the implementation mode. And we have to find the best solutions to really best leverage the expertise of the industry for implementing the resilience agenda. So to that end, after COP21 Paris Agreement, we were able to convene for the first time a group of CEOs of leading international insurance and reinsurance companies, together with senior officials from other stakeholders that are really impacting the resilience and insurance agenda globally, namely UN agencies, international development communities such as the development banks, and international donors, under the auspices of UN Secretary General at the UN headquarters on April 13th. Very powerful discussion. What really was achieved is agreement to priorities of action that would really help best leverage insurance particularly in the developing nations. Let me point to 5 elements that are really preventing the development of scalable and sustainable insurance programs, particularly in developing countries. First one is enabling environment, political will, relevant policy, legislative, regulatory frameworks, and financial system that really lend themselves to opening up of the insurance markets to the government as well as to businesses and individuals. Second one is access to risk information. To be able to design any good prevention and risk transfer program, you need to understand the risk, you need to quantify those risks, and then what insurance brings to that solution is pricing of risk, which is a very good signal as to what balance of preventive and risk transfer measures you need to develop. Third element is development of innovative insurance solutions that really meets the needs of who you're targeting, whether it's a government at national to local level, whether it's businesses or individuals. Fourth element is really raising awareness among governments, businesses, and individuals to really promote the concept of insurance and to so that market take-up and market development is better embraced in the developing nations. And lastly, but very importantly, it's building of effective public-private partnerships. So to that end, this meeting that I mentioned on April 13, the high-level meeting that was hosted by Secretary General, addressed the priorities of action that needs to take place along those 5 elements to really help developing and expanding sustainable insurance programs in the developing nations. Now, what that is going to do is that these high priorities that was set forth during that meeting has really provided the underpinning priorities for establishment of the Insurance Development Forum, which will be a forum where the industry will come together with other stakeholders influencing insurance and resilience, as well as government, to try to pave the way for implementation of sound insurance programs globally. And this was the message that the chairman of Geneva Association, Mike McGavick, resonated when he spoke to the heads of states during the event that was hosted by Secretary General on 22nd of April for ratification of COP21. So I'm very encouraged and very excited about the energy and enthusiasm that I'm seeing in the insurance industry to really join forces with the UN, with the development community, to really find the best path forward for implementation of scalable and sustainable insurance programs globally.